Hey, welcome back to Living the Next Chapter. It's Dave here with you. Glad to have you back. We have another author from the Mission Hope book. Maria Lehtman is here with me. Maria's from Finland. Hello, everyone in Finland. Maria is here. One of your own and your favorites is here with us, and she's gonna be talking about her portion of the book, Mission Hope, and what she's contributed as an author. And here's a little clip from Maria. And I hope you enjoy this. If you've lost someone special in your life, Maria's story will help you. Here's a little bit where she talks about her mom. Here on Living the Next Chapter. Here we go.
Yeah. I think when you're listening to this, you see me as I am today. And I can tell you that I am a different person who I was 3 years ago. So I think losing somebody you really care about does change you tremendously. And I was prepared for my mother's departure. And no matter how prepared I was, it took me as a complete surprise when it finally happened and how dramatically it affected my life. But I had hope, because all that you talked about, feeling with your father, although I felt that loss, I knew that somewhere, deep inside me, there was hope, because there was love, and because there was love that would never be lost, So I felt that love in the end would step in and help me heal. And that's a journey that's very difficult to describe. It was a hard chapter to write, to be honest. But I am sure you will find it helpful because, I know what darkness is, but I also know what it means to get to the lighter side of things and when the hope wins. And I could find inspiration again, and I could write again, and I could draw again, something that, I sort of halted when everything happened, because I felt that there was no purpose, So finding your purpose again is really important, and it does happen. Give it time.
Okay, everyone, welcome to Living the Next Chapter. I have a guest joining me from a country that I have not had a guest from yet, which is exciting for me because I get to meet a new friend. Maria is with me today. Maria is here to talk about a new book that's coming out with 18 great chapters, 18 great authors. And Maria has a chapter in the book. And she's taking time to join us today from Finland. I am so excited. I have never been to Finland, but I would love to go there. It looks like such a beautiful place. Maria, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you very much, David. I'm very happy to be here. And you should definitely visit Finland, and anybody who wants to, they're very welcome.
Have you been to Canada?
Oh my gosh, that's a good question. I haven't. I always wanted to.
So
Closest I've been to States.
Okay, so I live near Niagara Falls, Ontario, Canada. So I live right by the falls. It's about 20 minutes drive from my house to the edge of the falls. And sometimes I go by and I'm like, I forget that I have this natural wonder of all the water going over the cliff. It's like, oh yeah, Niagara Falls. Yeah. Because I just live here. But what's beautiful about Finland that you drive by or you go by and you're like, oh yeah, this is a beautiful place. Anything stand out for you that you love about Finland?
Yeah, I've been photographing for years, so I love little rivers. We have lots of lakes, thousands of lakes, and a lot of great national parks. So beautiful, just natural woods, old trees. So I love just walking around, hiking a little bit, and going to the archipelago. It's fun too. Little islands that cover almost all the way across to Sweden. So yeah, I would definitely recommend people who love nature to come over.
Beautiful. And history too. There's such a historic area. Canada is relatively a younger country, But
Yeah.
anywhere through Europe and into Finland and stuff, I am a huge history person. So I love to walk where someone else has walked and see things as they were. I love that. So it's great. Welcome to the podcast. It's great to have you here. You have written some things in the past, but you have something that you have contributed to with other authors. And I'm interested to find out, first of all, how you got brought into this project to write a chapter in this book. But maybe then we'll talk a little bit after that about what your chapter is about. But originally, how did you get a part of this big project, being one of the authors in this book?
Yeah, that's a good question. Some people actually ask me how do my stories come about in these books? But that's what I love about social media, is that it doesn't matter where you are in the world. So I've networked with a lot of people internationally, and I was happy to get to know, for example, Dennis Pitocco, who's running his Catalyst, and so I came across Char Murphy's profile as well along the way. And when she introduced that she would like to publish a book, then I had already been in contact with her just about other things, storytelling, photographing, on other media. So when I saw that in LinkedIn, I just dropped a note that, you can DM me if you want me on the book. And that's how I ended up being there. Yeah.
How did Char explain to you the big idea for the book, and how this book was going to come together? How did she explain it to you?
Well, it's actually kind of interesting because she almost presented it like a mission, that she wants to take on this mission to, first of all, bring about different authors from different areas, and to basically give and share about the themes that she had in mind. And the first one she wanted to start with was about hope. And that's almost all she said, in the introduction. So there was more about the process and the project, but it was those two words, hope and inspiration. And I thought, that's my thing,
Nice.
That connects with me, because that's what I blog about, and post about almost daily.
Okay, so we're breaking up the blog. That's great. Where do people find the blog? We'll put all the information in show notes as well, so people can go there from their phone as we're talking. Well, where do we come and participate and find your blog?
Well, my weekly one it's like a long post on LinkedIn.
Okay.
So you can find me on LinkedIn under Maria Lehtman. So my name. And then on Instagram under the Digital Teacup.
Oh, okay. Okay, perfect. We'll have all that in the show notes. That's great.
Yeah.
And so what are you sharing in your blog? Do you have a theme to your blog, or is it kind of a lifestyle following you?
It's about soft values, so self-transformation and, basically the values that we should look for in leadership positions as well. How we connect with others and with the world around us, because we are caught up in this new momentum of social media and what it brings and how it impacts, that we are currently on, basically tied to technology. But we should not forget that we're people, right? We're not machines. We're not robots. We need to have empathy towards other people and how we lead them and how we follow. And so those are the things really that I blog about, and the connection with nature, that we don't lose that precious connection, because, we're all here on the same planet, and we can only stay free as long as we have this wonderful nature and preserve it. Yeah.
It's a great message. I love it. So Maria, you have a chapter contribution to the book. And we chatted before we hit record a little bit about the background to your chapter. And I think this is going to be a great topic that we can talk about in addition to what you've written, and to draw people to your chapter is a little bit about the background to you and to how you've taken a life event that's significant for you and brought this into your chapter to help people. Can we talk a little bit about the backstory with your mother and kind of lead us into writing this chapter?
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I hope Char doesn't twist my arm later if I tell too much.
Yeah. We'll keep some secrets for sure.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, we'll keep some secrets. Yes, but I think it's, all of us have somebody who somebody who really inspires us in our lives. And for me, my mother has been one of the key persons. She was talented. She was very skillful, very artistic, and loved to study. And, when I was small, she encouraged me in a lot of the different traits, and she loved my drawings, my poetry, and she wrote a lot herself. And she's been an author in some ways as well, and she photographed and had displays, and so she was into music as well. So she sang in choirs and learned how to play piano in her older age. And so there was no limit to learning, she just loved to do that. And I had a really deep connection with her. And she always encouraged me and always wanted to see that even though I developed my career, that I also developed my artistic skills, along the way as well, and that I bring them forward. And so that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I talk about during my chapter, how did my creativity develop and how my relationship with my mother developed. All the way to when we had to say goodbye to her.
Yeah. And your chapter will help readers in terms of loss and, losing someone special in your life. Like I lost my father many years ago, and there's just a feeling of sadness that stays with you for a long time. And then just the simple things that I found, really, like I can remember just looking at my phone and just wishing my phone would ring, right?
Yeah.
Just to see that name pop up on my phone and see Dad calling, and then realizing that that's not going to happen.
Yeah.
People looking at the title of our episode today might be coming to this episode and they're dealing with their own loss in life. They're dealing with the loss of someone special to them. And they're just looking for somebody to say something to help in the moment that they're in right now. Can you share a little bit with that person that's listening and just give them a little bit of encouragement from your perspective to help them right now? Because they're missing somebody.
Yeah. I think, when you're listening to this, you see me as I am today, and I can tell you that I am a different person who I was 3 years ago. So I think losing somebody you really care about does change you tremendously. And I was prepared for my mother's departure. And no matter how prepared I was, it took me as a complete surprise when it finally happened and how dramatically it affected my life. But I had hope, because all that you talked about, feeling with your father, although I felt that loss, I knew that somewhere, in deep inside me, there was hope, because there was love, and because there was love that would never be lost, So I felt that that love in the end would step in and help me heal. And that's a journey that's very difficult to describe. It was a hard chapter to write, to be honest. But I am sure you will find it helpful because, I know what darkness is, but I also know what it means to get to the lighter side of things and when the hope wins. And I could find inspiration again, and I could write again, and I could draw again, something that, I sort of halted when everything happened because I felt that there was no purpose, So finding your purpose again is really important, and it does happen. Give it time.
What did you find helpful from your community and family during the time of the loss of your mother in those first few months or year? What was really helpful where somebody reached out and showed kindness and love to you, and it was the right time, like you needed it from that person at that moment? Do you have any examples of somebody reaching out and helping?
A lot of people who, I think I met friends and I spoke to people, and what I found very, very helpful to me was that they didn't want to explain the grief away, I found it helpful that people honor that you are in grief, and that's okay. It's okay to feel that way, and they don't have to change you in any way. So I got these messages who said that, just saying that they're very sorry and they understand and they might share what they have gone through. And that was both on social media as well as friends that I knew. And I didn't have to say more than that. I just said, that's what happened. My mother passed away, and they would immediately understand, I know where you are.
Mm-hmm.
And that was helpful to me. And they said, don't worry, it'll pass, because they had gone through those steps as well.
It's amazing. So some of my listeners, Maria, are authors, or they want to be an author, and they're not sure how to start, but the idea of writing a chapter in a book seems interesting to my audience because you don't have to write the entire book. You just do your portion of the book. Do you have any words of wisdom to a new author that's thinking of writing about maybe joining up and being a part of a book like you've done with Sharp?
Yeah, that would be the Nike logo, just do it, to be honest. I mean, I didn't, when I initially started, I started actually writing a book before I even started blogging publicly.
Okay.
So I wrote basically a poetry book with the photographic associations. And, I had in mind what I wanted to express, but it really all became together once I started doing it. And that's the same thing that happened with this story I wrote, is that I just sat down and I cleared my mind and I just let it come out. So I didn't bother about grammar, about punctuation, about anything. I just wanted to express the feeling and the path I had gone to. So jump on that path. So just trust your intuition. And if you see people who are authors or writers, they usually have a program that they're working on, and they love to connect. So that's what I do. I've just connected to people and ask them if I can be of help with something, or they ask me if I, want to write for articles, or if I want to write a short story. And it's a lot easier to start that way than doing your own book. Mm. So yeah, I definitely recommend that. It's a great route and it's a great learning experience.
Good. It's great. Are you excited to see this book come out and have a copy in your hand and be like, this is my chapter. This is what I did. That's exciting.
Yes, it's exciting, and we've grown to be a good community as well as writers. So I think that's something that you will gain when writing is that you get new friends. You know, who are all, some of them very experienced writers, and others might be new starters. You know, it might be the first story that they are writing as well. So yeah, it's cool. It's exciting to see my story, but also to read the others.
Yeah. And then to see how all of this fits together.
Yeah.
18 different people submitting, and how the whole book comes together as one message.
Exactly.
It's exciting. That's really, really great. It's good.
Yeah.
So, okay, before we go, we do have listeners in Finland, and it's great to have you on the podcast because I don't get to have this happen very often. But would you like to say hello to my listeners of Living the Next Chapter that live in Finland? Because I think they'll be like, I think I know Maria. Like, is that Maria from down the street? Like, so I'm excited to share this with them. Did you want to just say a quick hello to the listeners in Finland and welcome them to the podcast as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Hei kaikille suomalaisille. Jos kuuntelette tätä, niin olen Maria Lehtman ja asun tosiaankin pääkaupunkiseudulla ja olen kirjoittanut juuri kirjaa, joka julkaistaan ja se on toivosta ja miten löytää toivo uudelleen, kun on menettänyt läheisen. Joten toivottavasti hyppäät mukaan kuuntelemaan tätä ja lukemaan kirjaa. Kiitos.
No, I understand. I understood everything you said. No,
yes.
So I love listening to your language. It's so amazing. I don't even know how I would say those words. I don't even know I could copy you. Thank you, Maria, for being part of the podcast. I'm really looking forward to this book. I'm looking forward to sharing this with the world. And again, for those that have come and they've experienced significant loss in their life, to hear your words of kindness and empathy, I think is great for the listeners that have come. And if they have a question, they can reach out through your LinkedIn, through your Instagram, and just let you know or send you a message to say thank you. I'm sure people would like to do that. So again, thank you for making time to be on the podcast, and congratulations on being part of a great collective of authors. I'm really looking forward to seeing this book help many, many people.
Thank you so much, David, and thank you everybody listening. I'm very grateful you're here.
Excellent. So everyone, please go to the show notes for Living the Next Chapter for the podcast you're listening to, and all of the links will be located there, and you can reach out and you can speak to Maria yourself. So thank you for Maria for being part of the podcast.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Hey, thanks for being here for the podcast Mission Hope, Thriving Through Seasons of the Soul. Came out March 24th, 2023. 18 amazing authors, all corralled by the amazing Char Murphy. If you need some inspiration in your life, please go to the show notes, follow the links, go purchase the book, gift it to someone, buy copies and leave it in your waiting rooms of businesses or the dentist office. Just go out and buy the book and support these great authors, many first-time authors, first-time podcast guests. A lot of firsts happening here. Char Murphy, thank you. Dominic Damaski, publisher as well from Motivation Champs. Thank you so much for bringing together these amazing people and to have these authors on a podcast here to talk about their chapters is so great. So encouraging you, go out, check out Mission Hope, Thriving Through Seasons of the Soul. Get your copy today. Thanks for being part of the podcast. Catch you on the next one.